Well, golly gee willikers, fellas. Would you look at that?
A mangaka caring about power scaling.
What's up, guys? Elephants here we are to do a nice little breakdown, discussion, and analysis on the volume extras for volume 15 of Four Nights of the Ababalaba, which is known as, I don't think the volumes actually have titles, or like names, or anything you need to. But still, these volume extras came out, and don't get me wrong, there have definitely been volume extras before, some of which I probably should go back and touch on, since I do believe some of them have, like, decent scaling implications and some extra character stuff that I really, really like. I've seen those on rereads and stuff like that. But this is the first one to smack some meat on the table that has me like, whoa, wait a second, let me actually go grab this immediately because of the implications, because of the numerous arguments that have already begun because of this chapter, or because of these volume extras. So honestly, we have a decent chunk to talk about, so let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Ending me. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with it. Wait. Oh no. Am I that guy with a pencil because I always have a pencil on me? Or am I just a pencil guy because right now I'm pencil-less? Or I guess I wouldn't be a pencil guy without a pencil.
Wait a second. I know I have a pencil.
Pencil here. Sorry. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact. Yeah, I'm still mad at Percy. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand. And it's in character and all that good stuff. I'm still mad at Broski. But regardless of that, we do have some decent stuff to talk about. Talk about. Obviously, there's the volume cover itself. I don't care. I mean, it's just Percy saluting as he's going goodbye. I've already given my full opinions on Percy leaving and how I think it was a mistake and all the stuff like that. I still need to make actually a proper video talking about it in full, though. I think I only mentioned it like multiple times in reviews. So we'll go into that another day, another dollar, because I've given my thoughts on this and I want to give a whole proper video to this. So we want to focus on the volume extras. There are some changes and some redraws I want to talk on too before we hop into the main thing, which is the scaling. So first things first, we do have some extra pages from the volume since, Nakaba, he felt a little bit rushed, presumably. I've been pointing it out, especially in the reviews. It seems like Nakaba's really, I'm not saying struggling, like, bro's been doing what he's been doing, running no assistant for years now. I'm pretty sure he doesn't, I'm not sure about his previous series, but considering he's been doing it for Seven Deadly Sins, his most popular series, and so far Four Nights, the sequel to his most popular series, I presume he's been running no assistant like since forever. So it makes sense that when you're running no assistant week by week, you're trying to drop things, you leave some things out, and that's what the volumes are for, to make up for what's missing. And we see this interaction, which I really, really do like. We see Tristan take a nice little calm stroll up to Percival. He kneels down, picks up Dragon Handle, or the Percival sword, and says this. You swore on this very sword, didn't you? Yet, you renounced your mission as a knight of prophecy. Daddy dearest believed in you and entrusted it to you. And Isolde goes, Sir Tristan. And Kion, we'll mention it. Kion goes, life spirit. Huh. We'll talk about Gwen's reaction in a second. I do want to talk about the Tristan Platoon's reaction to this quickly and first, because all of them are interesting. Well, Isolde's isn't. Shock horror, she cares about what Tristan cares about. But Tristan's reaction is interesting. Number one, Daddy Dearest. I don't think we've ever heard him call him that. Like, even pre-time skip, and, well, technically post-time skip in the original series, yeah, pre-Four Nights time skip, we've seen 10-year-old Tristan never called him Daddy Dearest. Obviously, Four Nights Tristan never called him Daddy Dearest. Gorge of Edinburgh Tristan never called him Daddy Dearest. So hearing him refer to Meliodas as Daddy Dearest is like, I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad, nor am I saying it's, like, out of character. It just caught me off guard because I never heard it before. And, like, I called my own dad a whole bunch of different things. From father to papa to scion. Well, no, I'm his scion. To originator, progenitor. Like, I've called him a whole bunch of meme stuff. And he has varying reactions to each of them. Sometimes he doesn't know what I'm talking about, considering I rarely ever use them. But Daddy Dearest, interesting. But what I do like, first and foremost, is that Tristan does seem to be just a teeny tiny bit nettled. You can tell, it's hard to confuse, or it's easy to confuse. This could be a tear right here, like this right here could be a whole tear, and this isn't actually Tristan like sweating with fury, but considering there's like a drop all the way down here, I think bro is legit just sweating, and he's like gripping the blade with some anger, though admittedly the blade is rather still in his hands. But the main reason I like this is because we didn't get reactions from the Knights outside of Lance. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the crew's reactions, aka the Percival platoon. I appreciate Lance's reaction, especially him just Mortlock, very, very good. But I did want to see what the other two knights' opinions were on this, considering how, like, I feel like it's pretty much impossible. This is one of the biggest, the heftiest twists that could happen and could transpire. And it happening in the way that it does, kind of crazy. So I understand why Tristan is as nettled. Nice little stuff right there. Isolde, once again, I hate to admit it, her reaction is kind of irrelevant. Kind of waiting for more stuff to be drizzled onto that character ever since Jade got, like, the character sort of plateaued. And to be fair, the character wasn't doing much rising in the first place. But Kion mentioning life spirit is interesting. Essentially, this at least, it tickles my toes in the sense that I think maybe Kion's going to be responsible for bringing Percy back. Because he's a summoner type. And life spirits, as we see with Ironside, are clearly summonable. Meaning that Percival's life spirit could hypothetically be summoned back. Maybe that's what Kion's training for. Maybe that's his post-time skip role. Maybe there's more stuff that can go into that. Interesting. The other reaction I like, though it's simple and sweet, is Gawain's. She goes, "You fool. Just as you recognize me as your comrade, you're going to go alone? By yourself? We were supposed to overcome true suffering together. From this point onwards, weren't we?" So Gawain, unlike Tristan, where I can kind of read the reaction as a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit nettled, Gawain just seems genuinely sad. And this is nice, considering Gawain and Percival have, one of my favorite, well, I can't say one of my favorite. Well, actually, no, I can't say one of my favorites. Like, the only sheer straight bar for bar dynamic I prefer more is Percy and Lance. Oh no. Oh, crazy. My two favorite knights have a really good dynamic. But Gawain and Percival's dynamic, especially the one we see in Leonis, is very, very sweet, very, very sibling-like, and it's good to see Gawain, once again, being genuinely treated 100% seriously as a character. Like, there's no weird joke that's made after that. She didn't sit on anybody's face. She's just genuinely sad to see someone who acknowledged her, risked his life for her, from her perspective, by diving down and doing the knights instead of just letting her get got. Someone who changed her worldview, seeing her have such a genuine sad reaction to Percival's end. Good stuff. Fantastic character work. And of course, I hate to glaze over these three, but yeah, we already know they're going to be crying and sad and mad and all stuff like that. And one thing I do like. I like that Nasian tips down the hat to cover his tears. Good stuff. Very, very good stuff. So, nice extra details. I'm glad that Nakaba added this. So essentially we get every character that matters who's traveling with our main crew. Every single one of those characters gets a full genuine reaction to Percy's end. Something that was lacking mostly from the Tristan platoon and Gawain. So that's good. That's 4 whole characters that we now get a reaction for. Thank you, Nakaba. The other little thing that I do want to tackle, some redraws. I'll admit, this is the original panel. I believe this is the original panel, and Nakaba redrew it as this. And like, I get why he did it. There's more motion being portrayed, and legally speaking, the falling motion he's going through makes more sense with how his hair is flowing. But I don't know, I actually kind of prefer the original drawing. Like, of all the drawings from this era for Nakaba to go back and redo, this one I'm not really too crazy about. Even though I do see why he would do it. Like, on an artistic front, just going with how Tristan was teleported here, and the falling, and probably how he would be wielding Maya. Like, all of that makes sense. I just kind of prefer the original drawing. That's just me, though. And then the second major one, it's this one. I'm not going to put too much time on it. Nakaba just got to complete it. Hallelujah. Once again, Nakaba has some of the best armor detailing, period. I'm happy he actually got to complete the drawing. You could tell he was Speedy Gonzalez through it. And then with that, once again, just more armor completion. These chapters, they looked funny when they came out, but they're finally rectified. Bada bing, bada boom. Everyone has their proper coloration. And by coloration, I just mean their proper inking and armor detail. However, shockingly enough, like, he's over-detailed here, and then Nakaba proceeds to under-detail him here, even though he's more prominent in this shot. I don't know. Once again, Nakaba is presumably working on these volumes at the same time as he's working on more chapters. So I'm not blaming bro for leaving little details lacking here or there, especially when he's actually taking the time to go back. Realistically, Nakaba has no obligation to go back and complete the art. -15 obligation. He has no reason to unless he explicitly wants to. So I'm glad he explicitly wants to. That's really nice stuff. I'm glad Nakaba really is going back. Does it necessarily matter all too much to me individually? Yeah, I do like it. I do like that Nakaba's willing to go back. So that's the character stuff, the art stuff, extra pages, extra panels, redone panels, all the good stuff. But you know what I'm here for. You know what we're here for. Let's talk about the scaling implications of the Volume 15 extras. So, back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. We have Donnie, and he's a calamity. Oh, he's so mad, but he won't. I'm sorry. But this is the volume, I think this is the general volume cover for volume 15, and this is just Donnie, giving Hauser glaze, like, someday I'll be a holy knight like Uncle. And then Anne makes the comment, which just makes his post-time skip appearance all the funnier. She says, perhaps you should at least start doing your hair like him. And post-time skip he does. He literally steals his entire fit. Word for word, bar for bar. I think the only thing is that Hauser wore a tank top while Donnie wears a v-neck. That is literally the only difference between the two. But even still, I do like that little detail. That it's kind of like retroactively foreshadowed, because I'm pretty sure this volume came out after. Actually, no. Did it come out after Donnie's reveal? I'm not actually sure how old this extra volume stuff is related, but I'm presuming it came out after Donnie's post-time skip design was well underway. So this is some retroactive continuity, but retroactive continuity is still fine. A little bit of Percy Boy, a little bit of Nasians. But of course, the main thing. Nakaba. Now, here's the thing. I'm something of a power scaler myself, As a power scaler, one thing that I will consistently say is mangaka don't consider the deep depths of what they do, nor do they, heavily care about power scaling. In the sense that, sure, they care about if character A is stronger than character B, and they will portray it that way for the sake of the narrative. Any author ever, if they're writing a battle manga, is innately power scaling. By making one character stronger than the other, one character relative to another, one character weaker than another, they care about power scaling. They do. But when I say they don't necessarily care too much, I mean in the way that we be calc beastin'. Okay, this character moved this much by this many pixels in this frame, and thusly, based on the attack that they dodged, which is stated to be the speed of light, there are 7 to 8. They don't care about all that. That's in my opinion. But Nakaba, at least in my opinion, is one of the most consistent to consistently drizzle little lore pieces and comparison pieces. And once again, it just gets ever funnier that he keeps bringing these up when, dog, I thought you said you didn't have to read 10 milliseconds. It doesn't matter. But of course, this is for stuff like us. This is for the people like us, because he cares, and we care that he cares. So I'll definitely take the extra details. So, first things first, we do get the names of all 6 of the 6 Knights of Darkness, not the 6 Knights of Black. So, if there were any doubts that the 6 Knights of Black were not canon, or, were kicked out of canon or anything like that, no, they are still canon. The 6 Knights of Black are just another elite squad. Why do these look like carbon copies of the 6 Knights of Black? Well, more like, hey, can I copy your homework real quick? And you just go, sure, I'll make it a little bit different. This is essentially that for those character designs. But hey, it goes to show that Nakaba likes those character designs and character names enough that he hasn't booted them out of canon. Once again, in Prisoners of the Sky as a movie being canon, weird. Hard to argue. It fits nowhere in the timeline, trust me, I've tried. But the characters themselves, canon. Bellion's manga his manga movie prequel chapter thing, that's canon. That shows a event from the manga, admittedly very shortly. But the battle that got Meliodas feared by all the Goddess clan is that battle that we see in that Bellion one-shot, when Mael was forced to retreat by Meliodas. So that is canon. The 6 Knights of Black are canon. They're even mentioned in the main manga. We just never see them. And we don't know what happened to them in the main timeline. Presumably, they may still be stuck in the Celestial Realm. We just don't know. Unless Nakaba comes out one day and explicitly drops, oh, BT Dubs, Prisoner of the Sky is canon. Don't ask about the timeline. then we'll just have to hold that. But at least for right now, they are still canon. The 6 Knights of Black are. Their designs most likely are. That backstory manga chapter most likely is. It's just Prisoner of the Sky because it can fit nowhere in the timeline. Unlike every other, which is so funny, because every other movie produced for the Seven Deadly Sins duology is canon. They have explicit places in the timeline, and then get explicitly referenced back to. Sometimes. Technically Cursed by Light hasn't had an explicit reference, but the fact that the Supreme Deity's dead is a big thing that comes specifically from that movie. But, all that to say, these are the 6 Knights of Darkness, not the 6 Knights of Black, so, neat. We have all their names too, Bianchi, Gallo. Interesting, we've had Galland, Pump, now Gallo. I forget the name of the big guy from that other elite demon squad that also I thought was low-key a ripoff of the 6 Knights of Black. We have another one. I forget his name though, but another one of Galland's family members presumably. Azil? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Dim, Schwartz, Nora. So we do have the 6 Knights of Darkness, and we see. This is where the scaling stuff comes in.
The proud Demon Elite squad that serves the current Demon King. They revere the Ten Commandments as their heroes and loathe the seven deadly sins who defeated them. Their strength is still not on par with that of the Ten Commandments. However, they are quite strong. Despite that, it appears that they are completely helpless against Nanashi, whose strength is below that of the Archangels.
So, here's the thing. There have been 15 billion. Well, first, let's just tackle the easy thing first, because we're gonna get complicated in a second. Don't worry, we're gonna get complicated in a second. But let's just tackle the easy thing first. The fact that they are stated weaker than the Ten Commandments. I don't think anyone's surprised by this. Even a big part of Bellion's narrative, the Six Nights of Black, the original variation of the Six Nights of Darkness. There's no other way to call it. The original variation of the Six Nights of Darkness. Bellion's whole narrative was about how he wanted to reach commandment here. He was not there. So it makes sense that the Six Nights of Darkness, who revere the Ten Commandments, also seem relatively young compared to the Ten Commandments, and also clearly aren't the Ten Commandments. They aren't Ten Commandments there, individually. That's fine. It makes things weird, though. The reason I say it makes things weird is because it then makes Tristan's hybrid state but here's the thing. This is where it gets funny. Because, technically, Lord, Schwartz should be commandment here. Like amped commandment here. Wanna know why? Because we see Tristan in goddess mode being able to keep up with Melascula. Chaos Melascula. And we go with Galen's statement that Chaos Commandments are stronger than their original incarnations. At bare minimum, they're equal. Whatever you feel about the Chaos Commandments, whether they're stronger or the same, there's no reason they should be weaker. At least not an explicit stated reason. Galen only implies they're stronger, Melascula only implies she's better. So the fact that Goddess Tristan's able to tear through Melascula's attacks and stuff like that, and she's a commandment tier fighter, possibly stronger than her original variant commandment tier fighter, the fact that Schwartz is able to, admittedly while Tristan was a bit off guard, one tap and no-sell Goddess Tristan's attacks and even keep up with and one-tap hybrid Tristan, that's a little bit weird. I'm not sure how to reconcile that. I guess the way you reconcile it is that Tristan's off guard. And Tristan never goes all out. That's the big issue with Tristan. It's hard to anyone who he doesn't explicitly beat, and or someone we don't see him go full out on, who then beats him. We just don't know. So maybe the way you rationalize them still being weaker than the Ten Commandments, but Schwartz through Tristan technically having, at least in his transformed state, Schwartz through Tristan having direct scaling to commandments? But then the other way you argue this is that maybe individually some of them, like Schwartz, are commandment level individually, but as a collective they aren't as strong as the Ten Commandments. I think I'm going to lean with that one, because just assuming none of them are commandment tier, even though we literally have them directly scaling to a guy who's relative to commandments, and then use presumably a stronger form against Schwartz than he used against the command, the math ain't mathin'. I'm gonna lean that way. But of course, you know the main statement. A whole bunch of people have come out the woodwork. Now, here's the thing. I'm something of a Mael hater myself, I'm kidding. I love it. Ironically enough, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Pencil hates Mael. Pencil thinks Mael's fun, or Mael this, Mael that. The only thing is, I think Mael gets super slopped for absolutely no reason. I just don't see it. I don't see, other than him being the strongest of the Archangels, which is good slop, he's still very easily, I say original series, easily maybe a top 10? Definitely top 15. You can make arguments for top 10. But, I've seen it on Reddit. People are asking, yo, how long will the Demon King last if he escaped from Purgatory during the Holy War and fought Mael gets slopped to oblivion. That's the only reason you'll consistently find me taking a hammer and just swinging on my fans. Because y'all be slopping, bro. Y'all be slopping, bro. And as a byproduct, I've come off as sort of a Mael hater. But in the exact opposite scenario, we have Lancelot. Lancelot has been getting my glaze ever since bro was introduced. Literally the moment he dropped in chapter 48 or 49, I know it's not 50, but it's either 48 or 49. The moment bro spawned in, I knew he was him. I was glazing bro. And for the longest time, I was glazing him, but I didn't know how powerful he was. But now, it's been pretty well established that bro's easily sin level. It's been stated numerous times at this point. It's pretty much impossible to argue. I don't even know how you would argue against it until this statement came out. Now I've seen it. All the anti-Lancers. Because, of course, the statement of this ends that
Despite that, it appears they are completely helpless against Nanashi, whose strength is below that of the 4 Archangels.
So, a lot of people said, okay, Nanashi's not Archangel level. Farter, Lance, by proxy, is farter. Yo, I want y'all to realize, Nanashi's not the reason Lance got a massive upscale. Well, he is, but not because of the fight. It's because of the statement that Nanashi makes. For reference.
I hear that you tussled with Arthur once. He said you outclass any seasoned warrior he's seen, from your intuition to your courage and strength.
That's it. That's literally it. That's Nanashi's kind of a... Just the fact that he delivers that statement is what makes Lance that, on top of his feats on Arthur, on top of his statements on being Sin level, on top of his performance, like everything makes Lance that Timothy. Him not one-tapping Nanashi is a testament to Lance holding back. And, like, legitimately, it doesn't matter what level Nanashi's at. Because he doesn't even damage Lance. The only reason Lance goes full power is because he wants to flex and he can tell what Nanashi's intentions are. And he's like, oh, okay, you want to see if I'm strong enough? Let me flex on you a little bit. He never actually... Go reread the fight. It wasn't that long ago. So I'm shocked people seemingly are already forgetting. But never does Lancelot take even a whiff of damage from Nanashi. So let's say he is weaker than Tarmiel and Sariel, because he's not on the level of the 4 Archangels. Fine, let's go with that. Let's go word for word, bar for bar with that. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter for Lance's scaling. The only thing that does is it knocks Nanashi down a couple pegs. That's fine. I mean, sure. Was I more than happy to start glazing Nanashi to high oblivion and putting him above Mael and Ludishel and Tarmiel, like essentially putting me in the same echelon as like Elizabeth, who in my opinion is like the 5th Archangel and also simultaneously the strongest due to relativity to the full power prime assault with Meliodas? Yeah, of course. I would have loved to do that. But if Naga's gonna smack his meat on the table and just say, nah, broski, actually, he's weaker than the 4 Archangels, that's fine. Doesn't affect Lance though. You can use this to take Nanashi down. You can easily kick Nanashi out of the top 10 now. He's probably not even top 15. Like, if he's really weaker than the Archangels, and presumably... Because obviously, this once again goes into, like, the how is Schwartz not commandment level, yet he fights someone who is commandment level and beats him. But, like, put that aside for now. If we're just assuming Archangels, doesn't mean, like, the collective group, obviously Nanashi's not on that level. But whose strength is below that of the Archangels? Individually. Let's say, whoever you think the weakest Archangel is, whether you think it's Sariel or Tarmiel, don't matter. Neither of those two are top 15. Not even close. Like, I think you may be able to make arguments they're at best top 20. So Nanashi, cliff. There's the cliff. He drops off of it. Lance, unaffected. Literally unaffected. Nanashi does nothing to him. All that Nanashi does is tank a Shining Road. And once again, I've heard different arguments for this, but one, that was a base Lance that fired a Shining Road. And two, if you're like me, and you think that Shining Road is a light-based attack, considering it's described as light numerous times, and it's literally called Shining Road. Remember, goddesses are supposed to be immune to light. To the point where Esterosa, who is biologically a demon, yet on a secondary biological level, like, I still don't fully understand how it works. Remember Esterosa, he was no-selling light attacks from Archangel tier fighters. Like Elizabeth. Like, bro was just no-selling him because he was a goddess. Because bro was basically immune to light-based attacks. And Nanashi still almost died. Like, remember that. Like, Nanashi, upon facing a Shining Road from a suppressed base Lance, still nearly perished and had to spam his, like, literally second best in the verse. Well, third best, because there's Chaos and then there's Lady of the Lake. We're not Lady of the Lake, but Fountain of Youth stuff. Like, he had to spam that regen against something he should have negated. Not to talk of straight up negated from base Lance, and he never damages him. He doesn't even tag him. Like straight up, the only time he tags Lance is when he destroys his bow, which is also a base Lance. He proceeds to never land a hit ever. So like, don't try and use this as downscale Lance. Like, let's not do that. Let's not. All right. You know, I'm fine with people knocking Nanashi down. I think Nanashi's cool. I do think he's cool enough. I actually do. I really like Tarmiel and Sariel. And I do like Ludishel. I do like Mael. So, like, on a character writing level, I'm glad that Nanashi isn't actually just washing all 4 of the Archangels at the same time. That's perfectly fine by me. But do not use this as a way to downscale Lance. Because it's literally impossible. Like, unless you want to argue that Lance was, for some reason, super serious, max power bloodlusted against Nanashi, and definitely trying to execute him or one-tap him, nothing that comes from the Nanashi versus Lance fight matters for Lance's scaling, except for the statement that Nanashi explicitly makes that puts Lance on top. Up there, above above numerous sins. Every single warrior that Arthur's ever fought alongside or against. Bada bing, bada boom. Lance is up there still. Don't do this. Don't do this. There's no, once again, you can drop a counter argument if you think this somehow downscales Lance, but then go reread the fight and give me one panel. Give me genuinely one panel where Nanashi does a lick, a taste, a whiff of damage to Lance. When you come back with that, then we can talk. But then, of course, the other little bit of scaling, which is admittedly a lot less relevant, but is neat to have, the Testament Beast itself. Apparently,
A Chaos Beast made of the 6 Knights of Darkness, Schwartz & Co., fused together using the Chaos Staff. It slaughters its opponents with a slash of a giant sword. Incandescent flames breathe out from the lion on its chest and its 2 deadly poisonous tails. Its strength of sorry, I don't know why that sentence seems weird to me. Its strength of the 6 fused knights exceeds that of Merrigallan, which is Meligalland. I call it Meligalland because I believe Galland doesn't have a D in Japanese. And Melascula is Marascula, I believe, in Japanese. So Meligalland is just Meligalland. So, neat. I mean, essentially all that means, though, is that Demon Mark Tristan is the strongest form we've seen of him so far. But, like, that's all that means. Because remember, Meligalland was a Demon Mark Tristan victim. Like, once another case where Meligalland does not land a singular hit on Tristan. So, like, it just goes to show Demon Tristan casually, easily high commandment, low Archangel tier. I mean, like, it depends. But Meligalland plus Melascula, just based on base Galland, able to do anything to, and considering it's, like, seemingly enough critical over Galland that gets fused into Meligalland. Or at least has, like, critical over properties and stuff like that, and critical over Galland as Prime is able to do things against the Archangels. So, like, it just means Demon Mark Tristan's a demon. That's all that really means. Nothing crazy comes out of this. But like, if you want to do the Testament Beast versus Meligalland, now the Testament Beast should win. Good stuff. But it doesn't say anything about the Testament Beast exceeding the level of the 10 Commandments. It doesn't say, well, outside of like Meligalland, which is 2 fused commandments, but like Meliodas in his prime would one-tap Meligalland. Zeldris would one-tap Meligalland. Like, certain variations of Estarossa and Mael, well, Estarossa mainly, because we're sticking to commandments, would one-shot Meligalland. You can make meme arguments that maybe even, like, Droll and Gloxinia would be able to one-shot Meligalland. Like, there are definitely numerous different characters who still would one-shot Meligalland. And thusly, this thing having power greater than Meligalland is still good, but, like, it's not... In fact, you know what all this kind of does? It upscales lower forms of Tristan. Like, it kind of just shows that Demon Mark was overkill against Meligalland. Because all this does is upscale weaker variations of Tristan. Because weaker variations of Tristan were able to go bar for bar with this thing. Which is stronger than Meligalland. Who Demon Mark Tristan was taking on a walk. a walk to the cemetery, essentially. So, I mean, good stuff. I'm happy that Tristan's just getting further and further upscaled. And that's also really, really good upscaling for Gawain. It still is hard to... When Gawain says she would beat Demon Mark Tristan... But even with this statement of this thing being stronger than Meligalland, considering the fact that a weaker variation of Tristan was able to go head-to-head with the Testament Beast, and Demon Mark Tristan was dog-walking Meligalland, literally not even being able to get tagged, it's still very... I find it hard to bind into the truth of Gawain's statement. But even still, that's fine. Good scaling stuff, though. Once again, I'm telling you, authors, at least Nagaba, he cares about his power scaling. That man, his eyes are open. Trust me. He doesn't care crazily in depth like we do. But he'd be thinking. But of course, we also see just regular volume extra stuff. This is the hint for volume 16, I do believe. This is Pelgard saying, I'm glad he's doing very well. That's it. So overall, the volume extras are very, very good. Does it change anything scaling-wise? Yes, it does confirm the 6 Knights of Black are below commandment tier, but I'm going to say this as a unit just to not contradict. Or, like, the only 2 arguments you can make for the Chaos Knights, or the 6 Knights of Darkness, at least Schwartz in his transformed state, not being commandment tier is Tristan's drastically suppressing himself. That's the only thing. And you could argue, as a collective, the 6 Knights of Darkness are not stronger than the 10 Commandments as a collective, which makes sense. They would all likely get one-tapped by base Elders. Number 2, it doesn't do anything to Lance's scaling. It just genuinely knocks Nanashi down a lot.
Like a lot. Like it kind of shoots Nanashi straight in the foot, and he's not healing with that one. So it does knock Nanashi down. Lance is entirely unaffected though. I'm sorry, any of my Lance haters out there, this one's not the way. This is not the way to get my hell above Lance. You're gonna have to find another roundabout way to do that. And finally, it does get the Testament Beast above Meligalend. So if you want to take the Testament Beast cross-verse or anything like that, just say it's stronger than Meligalend, and then go from there as you will. So overall, really good volume extras. Shouts to Nakaba, I like it. I may make this a little trend, or a little consistent miniseries, like every time a volume extra comes out. If we get any extra information like this, or you guys want me to cover them, I will. Well, I don't really mind. This was actually kind of fun. So please let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave Testament Darkness in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the live reaction to the very next chapter of 4 Nights of the Apocalypse. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members for Connor Plays, Red Wolf 4765, Greyhound, and Atkins Void. I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons Victor, Sean, RNG Master, Midnight Gemlord, Metal Solid Crisis, Kevin, Igneal, and Demix LND. I'd like to give another thank you to our $7 member Autumn's Morning Lazo. I'd like to give another chunk of thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, iDemokami, and China Doll 09. I'd like to give a fat, juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our wonderful $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give another hefty, defty, trifty, nifty thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.